Hey guys, we're back for another Voxx Verdict. It's Estonia, it's Uku, it's a man with the beautiful blue eyes with his song, The Lucky One. We're going to review it for you and let you know what we think. So let's jump straight into it.
To show me, baby, explain that you don't know me. When it comes to you, I'm better off alone. I don't need a crystal ball to make me realize that if I stay, you break me. Every sign is saying I should be gone. I should be gone.
So it wasn't a straight, direct route back to Eurovision for Uku. He still had to compete in ESTONIA this year, going through the semi-final and the final. But he ultimately won. I don't think it was a huge shock to any of us that he got his chance for the second year in a row. But we're going to talk about his song, The Lucky One, maybe a little bit of a departure from what he was bringing us with What Love Is last year. But Clara, I know that you and Stu followed ESTONIA very closely this year. So what are your thoughts on Uku's song?
Well, I think there's a very interesting point to be said about this song, which is the storytelling of the song. It's a very, it is like a story. It's not talking about something like global or up in the air. It's like a very specific love story gone wrong. And I think one of the strong suits of this song is that the drumming and the music go hand in hand with what Uku is singing at the moment. When the drums come in, it's highlighting the gravity of the song, of the despair. And then the last sentences in the chorus, which is, I should be gone, then the music fades away and it leaves that thought hanging. So for me, it's not a song that's going to stand out. Uku will stand out, but and he has a beautiful graspy voice, but this is a song with a lot of nuances that's where I believe the mastery of this song lies in.
So Stu, last year with What Love Is, people were saying it was maybe a bit out of date and that he should come back with something more modern. Do you feel that he's done that this time with The Lucky One?
In a sense, that sense being the fact that it is a sound that is really popular right now, but it's also that sound that's really popular is a revival from the 80s, because this definitely has 80s percussion and 80s synth on it, which obviously speaks to you and not so much to Clara and I. But yeah, I would say at least, if we're talking about last year's song, this is an improvement. I wasn't really feeling last year's, and I have to say, I'm not really feeling it personally just because it doesn't suit my tastes, and I feel like overall it's quite melodramatic and not that exciting. But there are some positives to be mentioned here. I do think that Uku is a very capable performer. So we know that he will at least do justice to the song vocally. He might not have the most amazing voice out of all of the participants this year, but it will still be good enough. And I think that people can recognize that. I do like the pre-chorus with those long stretched notes that build up to the chorus itself. And obviously we first hear that if we're talking about the music video, it's when he's in the water. It does help elevate the song and bring us up to that moment in the chorus. But overall, yeah, this doesn't really feel like anything new or fresh for Eurovision. I also felt like the staging that we saw at Estilal was quite scattered. They made some improvements after the semifinal because they ditched the woman who was there. I think it was clear to see what they were doing with the woman on stage, how she was supposed to be resembling lust and the idea of giving into your feelings and going back to this person that's hurt you. But with the chains, it felt kind of cheap, and I can guess what they were going for, but it's still, it felt a little bit too much like a stage production to me. I do believe that they do have plans for changing the concept for Rotterdam, and I don't think it will depend as much on the visuals from the music video. But again, we'll have to see. As with everything else, we'll have to see what those changes look like.
Yeah, for me, it's once I stop looking at him and listen to the song, it's an improvement on What Love Is. It is a bit more modern, but it has got that 80s sound that you said. But for me, it's not an improvement enough, and there wasn't. It just feels like he's doing something very samey, but with some tweaks or some changes. And I think what I would have loved to have seen is him coming back with something totally different, maybe even something upbeat. It just feels like they've tried to make What Love Is a bit more modern and a bit more classy, and they've ended up with something where rather than being surrounded by candles, he's surrounded by chains. It's for me, it's just kind of a follow on from last year and not doing anything different enough for me. That being said, the song, I like the song, and I would listen to the song. I just don't know if it's what I want to see them doing at Eurovision. And we know how kind of diverse and quite cutting edge the Estonian musical scene can be, and we saw that from some of the entries that we had in Eesti Laul, and they've really been coming out and showing a different side to what we expect from Estonia over the past few years. So I would have loved Estonia to have brought something maybe a bit more modern and a little less safe to Eurovision this year. But that being said, we know he's going to give it a good vocal. We know that the staging will kind of be, well, I think it will be very similar to what we've seen in Eesti Laul, and again, that's very safe. Is it a qualifier through to the final? I'm not sure. However, Polly from Team Eurovoxx is a big fan of this song, so let's see what she has to say.
I absolutely adore this song, and I adored What Love Is as well. I think this really has top 15 potential for Estonia, and that would be absolutely fantastic if he could achieve that with his staging. I think if he kept the staging from the national final with the chains and the great special effects, he could do very, very well, and even achieve top 10 if he is to get through that weaker semi-final, which I think he definitely will. As he's in semi-final 2, he's not surrounded by a lot of the bigger and more popular countries that are in semi-final 1, so it'd be less of a bloodbath for Uku. But I definitely think he's not a winner for this year's Eurovision, but he is definitely top 15 potential.
So guys, if we have to rate the songs in your personal opinion, where are we going to go to first? Stuart, let's come to you.
Yeah, so if we're talking personal opinion, there aren't too many songs that I'd be giving this reaction to this year, but the truth has to be told, and it doesn't really connect with me. I feel like, although Uku is definitely a very capable performer, he could probably do better with a better song. So for me, it is going to be a sad face emoji, because I see a lot of potential that is not being fully used. Nonetheless, I think that he still could pull off a qualification. What I said when we were talking about Vincent Bueno was that both of those songs are in the same half of semi-final 2, and they're both kind of melodramatic with good vocal performances. I feel like one of them will probably make it through, but not both of them. So could it be Uku? Maybe.
Clara.
For me, it's an okay song. It just doesn't go anywhere. It's going to be forgotten. Sorry, my English. It's going to be forgotten, and it's a shame, because I think this is the case where the performer is way better than the song itself.
You know what? That's a really good way to put it, actually. So Clara, I'm actually the same as you. For me, it's too safe, and I would love to see something a bit more impactful, a bit more cutting edge, and we know that Estonia can bring that. However, it's nothing against Uku, because I'm very, very confident in his performance, in what he gives to the song. I'd like to see a little bit more personality from him when he's performing. It's not his, it's not a song that he's written. So I'd like him to inject a bit more of his personality rather than focusing on kind of those looks to camera and getting the facial expressions right when he's doing those big, powerful notes. Is it going to qualify? I'm not sure. Let's have a look at what Team Eurovoxx think. Wow, well, there we go. Pretty neutral. So yeah, maybe this one isn't a cert for qualification. We will see, but we might be totally wrong. Guys, if you're a fan of the song, we'd love to know what you think. So drop a comment down below and let us know. Otherwise, go to our Facebook page, give us a like, tweet us on Twitter, find us on Instagram. Till the next video, guys. See ya.